Synchronize.
Hello, welcome travelers. Back again with another Boruto Talk segment on here on the Sync Zone podcast. Today we introduce special guest. IAMDYNASTY, what's going on, man? Yo, welcome to the Sync Zone podcast. How's everything going? Yo, we're not, we're not here. It's pretty chill here, man. It's we're not keep it too formal. I don't really keep it too formal. Uh, I, for the most part, yeah, we could probably I don't know. I know I had a few questions. I'm glad you got we got the opportunity to, of course, have you on the podcast. Um, I've been seeing some of your shorts. You know, I know I was talking to you earlier about it, but you made some interesting shorts about I don't know, Ada's age and all sorts of things. I was like, you know how like Japan does like weird age things, right? How they have like certain characters at different ages flirting different ways. And I mean in America a lot of that stuff would just not fly. Yeah, I mean so I mean first off, what are your thoughts on cuz you're a Boruto focused your content's focused towards Boruto, correct? Okay. Um is Uh, correct me if I'm wrong. Is that like the only at the moment the main focus of the channel? Yeah, I know you've been going pretty hard with that too. Like I can't really say that I like a lot of YouTubers, but you've been pretty consistent with a lot of your videos. So, I mean, I definitely appreciate that. No, no, of course, of course. Um, heck yeah. So, I mean, like, what are your thoughts on like the whole you know the different mangas going on right now? 'Cause there's two at the moment. There's the Sasuke Retsuden manga, which just came out, and then of course the ongoing monthly Boruto manga. Oh, Dynasty, my bad. Hold on just a second. I'm just trying to make sure that we're catching your audio here, because let me see. Not gonna goof this one. All right. Let's see. Hello, hello. Yeah, I could hear my audio. I could hear your audio, but I'm not seeing your audio. Let me try something else. Hello. You want to you speak? Let me see if I'm seeing it on the channel. You speak? Well, that's very strange. No, I'm not. I'm not hearing it on the stream. Let me see something. Hello. Hello? Say something again. Um, I'm looking on the stream. I'm not seeing it. Let me see. Hmm. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, that does seem to be the case. Let me see. All right, let's see. See if we can get someone else in there. Nope, no sound yet. Let's do a test. I don't think it's your mic. I think it may be my mic, but let me, or my OBS, yeah, OBS being weird right now. Let me see. Voice, microphone. Yeah, that's good. Default. Yo, yo, yo.
Hello, hello.
Hello? Test, test, test. Okay. Let me get my moderator up in here. Oh, I did hear you for a second. Okay. Actually, hold on. Let me do a. Yeah, I mean, I can hear you. I can definitely hear you, but it's the OBS isn't picking it up. So let me see if I can make an adjustment really quick. Output capture. Right. Okay, say something again. Hello? Yo.
Yo.
Oh, I think I heard you.
Okay. Let me know if it's consistent.
Yeah, let's do let me check the channel real quick and I'll test the quality.
Okay.
No, you go doing do a quick check again?
Okay, okay. Can you hear me right now?
Oh, I can hear you. Okay. All right.
Okay, you can hear me. Okay, okay. So it works. It worked perfectly now then.
All right. Sorry about that, guys. Travelers, technical difficulties. But no, we're back on another Sing Zone podcast. Here with our guest, I Am Dynasty. What's going on, I Am Dynasty?
Hello, I'm happy to be here. This is my first ever podcast, so happy to see how this goes.
I'm glad that we were able to have you on the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is I I've been seeing a lot of your videos. I'm watching videos for I chime in every now and then when I get the opportunity. My work schedules. We were talking about it earlier.
I understand.
Yeah, it's you know, from morning to night, most days. The only real opportunity that I have to kind of talk about anything is probably like the weekends. So I try to aim for like Saturday, Sunday type of time frame.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, you've been making a lot of interesting theories. I know you were talking about you saw the or you read the Sasuke Retsuden manga, right?
Yeah.
How'd you? What were your thoughts on it? Like, what do you think about the fact that there's two, I guess, two ongoing mangas in the Boruto slash Naruto franchise going on right now?
I think it's a great addition, and I think it like they did it like because of the anniversary too that happened and all that. I think it's great. I've seen like stats of it like surpassing like on Manga Plus, at least for the US, it like surpassing the monthly like viewers that like Boruto has. Like it's like ranked number 3 right now on Manga Plus, which is, I don't know if some people might consider that bad or good, but overall I think like everybody loves Sasuke. So Sasuke getting his own kind of manga where he's like the main focus, I think that's great. I love the pacing. I love the drawing. Even though the drawing is not like that much better than Ikimoto's, I still feel like for bi-weekly, it's amazing. And I think I hear like some complaints when it comes to the dinosaurs, but I think with the way it's currently being written, I think it'll be perfectly fine. I've never actually like watched the novel, read the novel itself, but I've heard from other people that it is one of the best novels. So I'm really excited to see how this goes.
I can't even lie. When I saw this manga, I was super hyped, right? Because I'm not only a Sasuke fan. A lot of people don't know this about me, right?
Mm-hmm.
I love Sasuke,
Yeah, man.
but but I love the art style as well. I actually prefer this art style over the Ikamoto's art style.
Same,
Um,
same.
and then I would hope that going forward they just start adapting this art style because it fits. I think it fits the tone of Naruto because Naruto kind of started off with a similar art style. If I'm not mistaken, this art style is
Mm-hmm.
by Kishimoto, correct?
Yeah. It's like they were trying to go for like a Kishimoto X, how do you call it, art style. But I know it's made from by different artists. I can't say his name exactly, but they are trying to replicate a bit of Kishimoto's art while like keeping his own art at the same time.
Interesting. Okay. Huh. I I'm looking forward to some of. I guess I'm optimistic because
Mm-hmm.
if you know my thoughts about the Boruto manga, you know it's kind of been or for those travelers out there that kind of know my thoughts about the Boruto
Mm-hmm.
manga, I'm not really too enthused. You know, it's in all reality, it's kind of it's like because I've been watching anime for over like 20 25 years, and so
Okay.
when I see what Boruto is today in comparison to like Naruto, um, it's kind of disheartening, a little disappointing if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Um, I feel like they could be doing more, in terms of like how they kind of flesh out characters, um,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and explaining things, right? Because I mean, till this day, we can't say I don't think anyone can definitively say what karma is. You know,
Yeah.
um, they've said certain things in the manga and anime, but they've never point out point blank said, "Hey, this is what karma is." I know when it came to like Naruto, they would say, "All right, so the Rasen is a wind style jutsu mixed with uh the Rasengan, right? And this is exactly what it does, but they don't do that with Boruto. Um, it, it's that's really one of my main I guess takeaways when it comes to Boruto. But
Mm-hmm.
when it I'm at, what keeps me optimistic about it, I think, is more
Mm-hmm.
so um the potential for it, right? They're
I agree.
still sort of consistent, which is what I like.
Mm-hmm.
Um, even in the filler, a lot of people the quote unquote filler, right? A lot of
Yeah,
people
quote unquote. For sure.
a lot of people don't really watch it or consider it um canon. But I look at
Mm-hmm.
it and I've a lot of my theories you can go back in the canon. I think that's maybe one of the main differences when it pertains to the Boruto
Mm-hmm.
filler is a lot of it strongly hints toward um it's still part one. And so I think a
Yeah.
lot of it can be used to foreshadow um part two Boruto.
Or two. Yeah. I agree.
You
Thing
know?
is, like for me, the thing is for me when it comes to like I understand like what you mean, like things are not fleshed out and all that when it comes to the explanation. Like with the Otsutsuki's, we still haven't seen their backstory and all of that.
Right.
And I think the main problem I feel like with Boruto is it's being a monthly a manga. Things are not really fleshed out. The side characters are not fleshed out at all. It's mainly how do you call it, Boruto and Kawaki. Sometimes we get to see Mitsuki and Sada, but the other characters like Inogen, Iwabi, Chocho, and all these characters, nobody really cares about them because they haven't really been fleshed out. And the problem is that okay, let's say they're monthly manga. If they don't get straight to the point and like very and they pace it very fast, then there's no progression. In the Kawaki arc, the pacing was very quick. The pacing was very quick and the progression went very fast. And in the anime, they fleshed it out a little bit more. But right now with this arc, Kijimoto one is back and is writing more of the scripts. I don't think he's doing the art style, but he's the one who's like mostly doing the script writing. And we see that he's taking a lot more time and he doesn't necessarily explain everything, but he's taken a lot more time, and it's been like heavily foreshadowed that a lot of the stuff that we do not understand is going to be explained in Boruto Chapter 75. So right now, I have a lot of expectations, and I hope they do deliver. But in general, Boruto, by being a monthly manga, sacrifices two things. Either it goes and it's like the pacing is very fast, progression is quick, but they lose out on fleshing out the characters and they have to wait for the anime to do it. Or they go with the route that Kijimoto is going right now, which is a lot more slower paced, and they're trying to include like the different side characters. Like we've seen Shikamaru's kid Shikadai, and we've seen Inogen and the others like come in this most recent chapter. That's like it slows the pace down of of Boruto, and that all comes with Boruto being a monthly manga. So if we had Kijimoto's pacing and it was weekly, I think it would fix a lot of the problems. But that's just not the case for the moment.
I've said this before. I just some of the guys on Discord like they definitely need to make it a weekly manga. I think that would definitely help the series.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of especially with a lot of the newer generation YouTube or newer generation anime watchers or viewers,
Mm-hmm.
they they don't really have a lot of patience for um unless it's all action, which for the most part, the majority of the Boruto series, I think you talked about this too. Um, the majority of the Boruto
Mm-hmm.
series is um setup, you know, and so when you have a lot of more setup, if they don't at least like re-engage with some of these setup topics, then it sort of gives the audience a little bit of a um I like to call like a withdrawn syndrome. It
Mm-hmm.
makes them feel as though you know things are just being put out just for the sake of it being put out, and nothing's really canon.
Yeah.
It confuses the audience a little bit. But I kind of
Mm-hmm.
understand a little bit, just because I understand how the writing structure is formulated. It's sort of structured a little bit like Naruto, like you just pointed out. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but it definitely it is interesting. A lot of the shoot, I made topics about how um certain things are it there's a lot of parallels in Boruto.
Yeah.
Um and
Definitely.
a lot of these parallels kind of they parallel Naruto, to be more specific, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um which I like. Which I like. It's one of the good points. It's one of the things that keeps me more interested, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
and optimistic. Yeah. What are your thoughts on the next chapter? What are your predictions? Have you officially provided your predictions for Boruto 75?
I've like talked about how do you call it? I made like a short discussing like what could happen, what Amado could potentially reveal. So I've heard, I don't necessarily agree with this like thing, but I heard like Amado is from the future, this and that. I really do not like theories of characters being from the future. It's not that it confuses me, but it makes it a lot harder to comprehend how, oh, it doesn't create a different timeline, this and that. So I don't really go in depth with like Amado being from the future. But like from my personal research, when we learned about Amado's last name, which is Amado, I know his full name is Amado Sanzu or something like that.
Yep.
There was like people doing research, and I was one of them doing research trying to find out what exactly that meant. So my prediction would be that Amado has an ability. I don't necessarily believe that he's an Otsutsuki, but I think that he has this certain ability that allows him to, how do you call it, either gain either take power from the dead. I know it's kind of confusing, but I did talk about it like super well in one of my previous videos. I forgot the title, but you like you see the title I think is like Kawaki is being manipulated by Amado, but I explain exactly how Amado has an ability that allows him to take either the form forms of past dead characters like we see with Kashin Koji and all that, or specific abilities of characters that have died. So with and Ida and Damien, when they were first introduced, we learned that they not only have the ability with Damien to reflect. We have Ida who has the ability to basically see everything that has happened, clairvoyance, and with her Senragon. But they also have different abilities. They have more abilities, but Ida told Damien not to reveal all their cards. So with that, and we see also with their design. So I think they are related to Otsutsuki's. Some theorize that they're related
Hmm.
to the missing Otsutsuki. I don't think themselves they are like Otsutsuki's themselves, but I think that Amado may have taken the abilities of these missing Otsutsuki's and given them to Ida and Damien. That's my prediction for Ida and Damien. However, I feel like the next chapter will dive into maybe what Amado's goals are, and maybe Amado may reveal like we already see that Amado has planted a time bomb on Kawaki. So he said he would give Kawaki his karma back, but we see that he has already put something else in Kawaki, which gives him a lot of influence. As if he has Kawaki, he also has Ida and Damien because Ida wants Kawaki, is in love with Kawaki, and Damien follows all of Ida's instructions. So I see Amado as trying to gain leverage with what he did to Amado to Kawaki. So I think that maybe he might reveal his plan in chapter 75, or he might talk about what Ida and Damien truly are.
That's extremely interesting, because I definitely like the fact that you pointed out that Amato is the ones that he's probably he's the one with the cards, and he's not
Mm-hmm.
playing all of his cards. He's playing it very tactfully, if I might say so myself.
Exactly.
I've compared him to Dr. Gero. Um,
Oh,
y-
yeah.
you know, and I think that one of the things that might add to his character and that might make for good writing is
Mm-hmm.
his age, right? It might
Yeah.
I think it's to throw people off, right? I don't think that he is, or his this physical body that we see that's
Mm-hmm.
known as Amado is the original Amado. I think that's
Yeah.
and let me backtrack a little bit. I think that he parallels he's basically the Boruto version of Orochimaru, right? Even though Orochimaru still exists, I think that they may have adapted and made some clear parallels that he is the new Orochimaru. And I've made
Mm-hmm.
some videos in the past about how um of course I've been one of the ones to make some time manipulation or the grandfather paradox, a resolution to
Mm-hmm.
that, how that may have um, created the model we know today. But another example of, or another reason as to how we have a model today, um, let's say he is the Dr. Gero of Boruto, right? And a parallel to
Yeah.
Orochimaru. What this means is and how this would happen is let's say that Amado lived during the time of the Sage of Six Paths, or even the Uzumaki, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
I've included Code in some of these theories, how he has red hair and now the white hair, and how Uzumakis have been known to have their hair change from red to white. Um, I've also to kind of explain that, right? Um, what if Amato got to the age, got to an older age, 60, 50, 60 years old, and then he found out how to
Mm-hmm.
clone, right, using technology. We know
Yeah.
that Orochimaru in a lot of his studies used chakra, right? He studied chakra, but I
Mm-hmm.
think Amato sort of studied technology. He's a scientist, and I think going forward into
Mm-hmm.
Boruto, they may use technology a little bit more. Um, FBK, what's going on, man? Hey, welcome, welcome. I think what may be happening is we
Mm-hmm.
know that Orochimaru and Amato, they both kind of started their journeys into scientific studies, um, because of traumatic events, right? What's their
Yeah.
the traumatic events are very similar. With Orochimaru, it was his
Mm-hmm.
parents. With Amato, it was his
Is his
daughter,
daughter.
right? Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think with Amato, instead of using chakra, he used technology to kind of, um, to focus on and learn how to live forever, right? The ins
Mm-hmm.
and outs of how to figure out the Shinobi world, and I think a lot of, especially with his character being so, um, I think he's if we're considering that he is the one with the cards, then I think
Yeah.
it's probably easy to suggest that he may be I don't know, a clone, you know? I think
Mm-hmm.
he may have figured out how to clone himself at that age, to live forever, basically. And I think the majority of his technologies, if we look at Kara, right, they're clones, right? Delta,
Exactly. That is true. We have Delta, yeah, who is actually a clone, yeah.
who is actually a clone, yeah. So we know he's figured out how to clone. We got Kashin Koji, who's a literal clone of Jiraiya. Um,
Mm-hmm.
which is a red flag in my opinion. Why Jiraiya? Why would the creators choose Jiraiya of all people? But I, you know,
Mm-hmm.
before I go down a rabbit hole, I've already kind of talked about that and previous theories. Um, yeah, I definitely think Amado is I think he's kind of working his way up to being the main villain of the series. Even if he dies, I don't necessarily think that this body is the original Amado. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very possible that this body could just be a clone of the original Amado, um, which could be just living on the wishes of the original Amado, similar to Orochimaru. But like I said, he would be a parallel to Orochimaru, but he would be the Boruto
Yeah.
series Orochimaru, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. I see
Um,
what you're saying.
but yeah, FBK, get in chat, man, get in chat. FBK has some interesting theories. Uh,
Okay, I want to hear those.
oh yeah, oh yeah. We talked about how what sorry what a motto may say, his true ambitions, and what may actually go down in the next chapter. Because I was predicting that Code might actually show up before the 3 days. Um,
Yeah, that's what a lot of people were predicting. And I personally didn't like I wasn't one of those people just due to the fact that like what Amado said, Amado was saying that when he comes back, he wanted to talk about everything that's happening and explain everything. So like if Code was to come back, I think that if he destroys the village completely, where are they gonna talk about? Where are they gonna have this meeting? Who's gonna be there to have this meeting? This meeting, if like everybody is basically dead, and we have a Boruto who may lose the will to live. I don't think it was like the right time for for Code to invade. And with Code 2 invading, I do not think that if Ida and Kawaki or if Ida and Damien are here right now in the village, I think it's also over for him to invade. I think that the reason they showed us Code and everything he was doing with moving the ten tails, it was also right after the hiatus. So I think they really wanted to like start the chapters back with something that is super interesting, or the chapter would have just been boring. So I think that's the main reason why we saw Code. And Code really, I think he was trying to, like he said, he was trying to get the Tentals to a different location because Kawaki and Boruto both have the ability as Otsutsukis to how do you call it, to go through different dimensions. So they would have been able to find it.
that's interesting.
Give me one quick second. I'll be right back. I'll be
Yeah,
right back.
yeah, sure. Yeah, FPK, hop in here, bro. What's going on? Yo, how we doing in the chat? How we doing in the chat? We doing all right? Appreciate you guys for coming by on the Sing Zone podcast. Stopping by. Hope you guys are doing all right.
Okay, I'm back. Yeah.
Welcome back.
So for what I was saying, like just to like reiterate, I think like Code and everything he did was mostly for him to like transport the Tentals out of that location so that Boruto and Kawaki would never reach it. What exactly he's going to do, I don't really know. I had this one theory that would like saying that okay, maybe Code might meet the Otsutsuki's, a potential other Otsutsuki, and then they might invade together. But I do not think that Code right now with Ida, Damien, Kawaki, and Boruto, and just him having the Tentals and how do you call it, his karma marks and everything that he has with no limiters, could really do much to the village.
So that was my original thoughts. You know, I was saying that for I said that a few times. Um, and then I thought about it. Right, what if Code he made we see him as this character, right? We don't really know
Mhm.
too much about Code. Um,
Yeah.
but what if he used the Tintels? Um, okay, let's before I even go forward with that. Let's say that with the Tintels, Code's plan, right,
Mhm.
was to basically attack. We know he's been, he obviously didn't show up to the Leaf like we thought he would, right? Um, let's say he attacked all the other villages, because my
Yeah.
original plan was that he may, or our idea is that he may attack all the other villages, destroy all the other villages basically, um,
Mhm.
killing the other Kage, of course, and then
Yeah.
he'd save the Leaf for last. Um, I think that'd make not only for really good writing, but that'd be really, it'd be a good plan on Code's part. Um, More so that because if the clones could soak up, um, or could absorb some of the people or chakra through these battles, um,
Mhm.
then he could basically get stronger than he was previously. I think. Um,
Yeah,
I
I
like the way
do.
you.
I do agree.
was that FBK? Who was
Hey,
that?
what's going on, Zone
What's going on?
Dynasty?
Yo,
It was good, bro.
Ain't that much, man. Ain't that much. I was just tuning in and listening to y'all talk
Mhm.
about old code. Hey, man, I'm been watching your work for a minute. I like it. I'm subscribed. Keep
Thank
doing what
you.
you do.
Oh, thank you, bro.
I'm gonna let you know that real quick.
Mhm.
Uh, but you were saying like Code can't attack the village right now because Ada and Damon's there along with Boruto and Kawaki.
Yeah.
Um, I I I believe that he can. I I
Mhm.
I kind of stand up against that. Next chapter, I don't think he'll do it. Next chapter, unless it's at the end towards the cliffhanger. Next chapter, I feel like
Mhm.
we'll get a reveal. We'll get the information spill from Amado. We'll get almost
Okay.
all the information except the most important part. I feel like will be cut off, and we won't get the most important part of his information. We're gonna get in the
Mhm.
reveal, but not the most important part because they want to kind of leave that to be they're not going to tell everything. We're still going to have some stuff to be explained later on, and the model's not going to be able to tell it because I don't think
Yeah.
he'll be around
Mhm.
too much longer if he gives this information out. So
Okay.
my thing is what Cole can do really, and it's simple with the ten tail beans and the Chakra network that Konoha has set up. All I got to do is drop me a couple of the ten tailings around Konoha, maybe drop one in the middle. The levels of chakra that they contain will set the chakra sensor network off,
yeah,
Mhm.
and you can have everybody separate and split up, and that allows Code to move around how he wants to. Plant claw marks. Code can be in and out so quickly. When the battle
Mhm.
starts, people aren't gonna be clumped together. You're not gonna see Code, Boruto, Damon, and Ada clumped together during the fight. So
Mhm.
what I'm getting at is you divide and conquer. You take Damon away from Ada and off the battlefield. When he's alone, you can deal with him later. Really, I take him
Mhm.
back to the Ten Tails dimension. I can deal with him whenever. The rest of them, all I have to do is separate. Separate. Cole can separate easily with his claw mark abilities,
strategically, that's
and
pretty.
with the Ten Tails, and with the Ten Tails being there. So all I
Mhm.
have to do is separate, and also let the Ten Tails run them up. They ain't gonna pay as much attention to Code as they are these Ten Tail beings that's emitting all this chakra and probably gonna send Eno in the overdrive once she senses all this.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I just as a huge plan that can go down with those ten-tailed beings, kind of similar to what Pain used when he invaded Konoha.
They're playing.
He
Yeah. Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
used that yeah, he kind of used that tactic as well. It was a distraction
Mhm.
to where he could get to his main focus. So That's kind of where I see it going. I do think Code will be able to do it, and I think it will happen as the cliffhanger of the next chapter. And Amado, I think here he's gonna kill Amado before Amado's able, or take Amado before Amado's able to fully get out everything he needs to get out.
Okay.
Then we're
I
gonna get
do
some big
see like.
reveals.
Mhm.
Go ahead, go ahead.
I do like see where you're coming from, but like the reason like why I like doubt like how do you call it code will invade is like mainly due to like one Ida's ability like to see everything. I don't know if she like passively sees everything or she has to just like send her consciousness there. So you could argue that she doesn't know like what code is doing. But like after seeing like Code get clapped easily by Damien, let's say he does come to the village, right, and tries to destroy it. He will definitely destroy it, but he would not be able, in my opinion, to like his main goal is to kill a few people. We have how do you call it? Get revenge on Ida. He first of all he says that he wants to become an Otsutsuki so that he could see if he truly loves Ida or not. So my theory at first was that maybe he goes to a different planet to do so, but I do not know how exactly he would go to a different planet. That would be the problem. But him coming to the village, he could destroy the village. He could kill Naruto and could kill Sasuke. I don't think Naruto would die, but he could do all of that. But the main people he would be trying to get, I don't think that would be the best move for him due to him being weak. We know that Ida can see if Code does invade, Ida would know, even if like is in overdrive. Ida would know everything that is happening, and her goals is not to save the village. Her goals is just to be to be with Kawaki. So if Code tries to go and get Kawaki, that won't work because we have Ida and Damien who scale like higher to him. So I don't see how Code would accomplish his goals by like really um coming to the village right now with his base strength.
So I gotta say I do agree. I do agree that he trying to acquire Kawaki may not be the best thing for Code. But as far as Code's character goes, I think in order for him to be, because I think he's more of a part two villain first and foremost, right? And
Yeah.
if he's to be set up, then I think I think he's strong enough to at least, um, if he does engage in that battle, to come out and survive, right?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Whether he engages
Code's
and
not
runs
thinking
away,
for you.
Mm-hmm.
um, but
Code's not thinking for you. I can tell you that.
what was that?
I said Cole's not taking any more L's. He has seen his last L
Yeah, I think it's
until he
over.
died.
Like they can't have Code taking any more L's yet.
So
I don't think he can take any more.
I definitely think if he does come to the Leaf, because it's been, he obviously didn't show up between those 3 days. So if he does show up to the Leaf, he's gonna come with a plan, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think this plan may, like FBK suggested, um, it may interrupt Amado during his speech. I think that might be that's probably what's gonna happen. I do think Amado is gonna get some decent. Um, he's gonna tell us some things that we need to know, but he's not going to explain his
Mm-hmm.
entire plan, right? Like I said, Amado is probably being set up to be, the one with the cards. He is the one with the cards, and so basically, I think with Code, um, what he could do is even if he showed up to the Leaf and was not able to kill off or hurt or affect Ada Damon, right? And let's say he came with no real plan, right? If he kill
Mm-hmm.
even if he killed a few people or even like a lot of fodder, he's making his presence known. And even before this, I think even
Yeah.
at this time he's probably been to other villages. Um
Mm-hmm.
Probably destroyed a few other villages before he destroyed the Leaf. I think this may be the just as a practice run, right? To understand his newfound limitless powers, right?
I
Um,
don't think we'll see a whole bunch of the current power level of Code. To be honest, I think we'll see a little bit of this unlimited version before Code
Mm-hmm.
goes full Otsutsuki. And I say
Yeah,
full
yeah, for
Otsutsuki.
sure, for
I'm
sure,
not saying
for sure.
I'm not saying that I don't think he'll go to another planet. I think with
Mm-hmm.
the Otsutsuki karma mark on him, even though it's the white mark, so he cannot download the DNA, he still has the knowledge and the
Yeah,
understanding of all things of Ishiki pretty much through
yeah.
being able to tap into a true essence. So therefore,
Mm-hmm.
my thing is if he can use what's basically creation of all things to break down the ten tails with his claw marks, if he can break it down using that, then basically it's my belief that those ten tails are made up of his DNA and Otsutsuki chakra within the ten tails, meaning that's Otsutsuki power right there, which is
Mm-hmm.
what belongs within the karma. So I do believe that he'll be able to reverse engineer and reabsorb the ten tails. Now, if he if he gets in trouble, that will be his ace up his sleeve.
which would be part
Being
two of
able
his
to
plan.
being able to reabsorb all the ten tailings and become full Otsutsuki that away.
Yes,
And once he does this, he will no longer be just code because he will be two beings in one, which is the ten tails trying to actually take over code.
I was.
And
Mm-hmm.
this won't form a being exactly like Kawaki or Ashiki. It will form a completely new being,
No being,
a
yeah.
completely new Otsutsuki.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if y'all kind of following where I'm at with that, but
No,
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying.
yeah, I was saying before that this may be like him putting his claw marks on the Tintels to split them and splice them with his own DNA, which is merged with Ishiki's DNA, or at least his Otsutsuki gene, right? Um, his
Mm-hmm.
his Yang half. It may what he may have thought if he could not absorb them directly, then splitting them and splicing them with his own DNA, what he basically could do is absorb them that way, therefore becoming his own. Once he absorbs them completely, he would basically become his own Otsutsuki in that way, right? Um, it would make sense to me if that could be done. Um, if this could be one of the reasons why he's did this. But initially, right, just to even I guess get things rolling, this makes for good writing because now not only could he or would he be able to absorb them, just dropping them in the village alone, they would do some damage, you know. Trying to block those attacks from the Tintels, it'd
the
be
storyline we
very
got to realize,
difficult.
Mm-hmm.
the storyline with Code that we have to realize is Code ultimately wants to see if he's really in love with Ada.
Yeah,
And the only way he
exactly.
can get to that point is by becoming Osusuki. So that's
Oh,
kind of a thing that
exactly.
has to happen narratively in order to get to that point. So that's the only way I can see him doing that. I don't really see us going off world to form another tree that has the chakra nutrients in order to make a good enough fruit to create make him Osusuki. So it's the only way I can see us getting to it, to him becoming Osusuki, which is something that has to happen,
Mm-hmm.
which I got.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. That's I agree with you completely. Like his main premise is like getting the how do you call it, finding a way to become an Otsutsuki, and then seeing if he truly loves Ida. I think he will find out that he doesn't. But the way him saying that, okay, I want to find out if I'm like I want to become an Otsutsuki to find out if I love you, says that he might know a way to become an Otsutsuki just by him saying that, okay, there's a way I can become a Otsutsuki, and then I'll see if I love you. So I think Code might have a plan or a way to become an Otsutsuki. And this leads me to what people believe to be the two missing Otsutsukis. Because clearly they have been scratched out and put there so that we know that there's other Otsutsukis that could come on Earth or already on Earth, but we just don't know who they are, and wouldn't they just aren't revealed at the time. At first, I had how do you call it a theory. First, I had a theory that how do you call it could be some random Otsutsuki's, but just going back and rewatching Naruto and seeing how do you call it Lord Jashin and who could potentially be an Otsutsuki as him. There's a theory that have you heard of the Katsurigan, the one near the end of Naruto? Have you heard of that dojutsu?
I don't think I have. I don't.
Yeah,
The kind of
there's
frog
people.
guys. I'm good. Yes.
Mhm. There's people who theorize, and I'm one of them, that that comes from that Otsutsuki. As we see, all dojutsu come from Kaguya. We have the Renegon, Sharingan, Byakugan. Those are the three great dojutsus. However, we don't really see the link between those dojutsus and the dojutsu of the Katsurigan, and the jutsu of the Chinowiki clan, which is the Katsurigan. So I theorize that Lord Jashin, he is worshipped by Hidan. I think that and referred to as a god, and we see characters who are referred to as a god as being Otsusukis. I think that Jashin would be Jashin Otsutsuki. I think that he could potentially be an Otsutsuki. And this would be like some peak foreshadowing right there because all of this happened in Naruto. This happened in the midway of Naruto, where Jashin could potentially be an Otsutsuki. And if Jashin is an Otsutsuki, what does that say about one Amado, and what does that say about Ida and Damien? Because if you check the patterns that Hidan makes when he does his blood sacrifice thing, and you check the patterns in Amado's lair or Ishiki's lair that Amado designed, you would see that they're very similar. And if you check the abilities of Damien, you would see that Damien's ability is to reflect attacks. Hidan's ability is he self-inflicts attacks which are reflected onto the user. So there's theories out there that state that there's a possibility that Amado took the abilities that Jashin Otsutsuki had and gave them to Damien and maybe his other Jashin's partner. He gave him to Ida, and that's where like the general link that I have at the current moment. And I think that if Jashin is a Otsutsuki, that would be great writing, as it was foreshadowed back in Naruto.
You cooking right now. You definitely cooking. Me
Interesting.
personally, I'm done with Josh, like Lord Joshine. I know they kind of brought it back for
I
the
feel
mirror
that.
arc and stuff like that, but I'm just done
Hmm.
with Joshine. Like it's definitely possible, and
Hmm.
I'm kind of like, why? Who would be his partner then at that point? Who would have been his
Exactly.
sacrificial partner that he used at that point? And then like,
Hmm.
why go to that dimension and destroy your own tablets, your Otsutsuki tablets, if you're
Exactly. Yes.
trying to hide, so say, and get this so-called worship from these people that worship you. Like, why
Hmm.
are you doing to get this way? You're an Otsutsuki, one of the most powerful
Hmm.
beings in the universe
I
with
think
these abilities.
I
You got to like uh, along with like you're saying, what you got the Kits. I can't even say it right. Kits Uriga. That's
Hmm.
how you say it.
Katsurigan, yeah. Hmm.
Kits Uriga. Like we got a few dojutsus that have been popping up that we never seen before. Along with that one,
Exactly.
Ishiki's. We never seen Ishiki's
Exactly.
ability be able to be passed down to somebody below his below the bloodline and stuff.
there was
So
Jigen used it, but that's only because well,
I mean,
you could
even
assume.
within Jigen though, like, and
But the
he had
point,
his karma, and Jigen couldn't even fully utilize G. I think Jigen could only get like
again,
three
like
or four
didn't have
triangles.
children. But the thing is, like the argument that like people have is that like with Kaguya, Kaguya had children with a human, and then the chakra started spreading. That's why Kaguya like wants her chakra all back. That's why she's trying to absorb everybody's chakra. And with Ishiki, like he didn't have any sort of emotions to any like females in the Naruto verse, at least what is stated. So he didn't actually pass his karma down by having pass his dojutsu down by having children. The thing with if you see the ranking of the tablets, you would see that how do you call it? On the left side, we see Momoshiki and Kinshiki. On the middle, we see Ishiki on the very high, and then we see Kaguya below. and then we have the missing Otsutsuki's. And people theorize that okay, it means that one Momoshiki, it means that Ishiki and Kaguya were stronger than Momoshiki and Kinshiki together as a group. But Momoshiki ranks to Kaguya, while Ishiki is like the strongest out of all of them due to him being higher up. If you, I don't know if you can like go look it up, like the panel itself. I don't know if you can show it on screen, but if you do go
Oh,
look up the panel, you would see
That's
that
the part.
Momoshiki. Mm-hmm,
That's the part that gets me though. Like them saying Ishiki is the most powerful and the most respected. Like kind of gets me
yeah.
because it said that Kaguya herself was a princess, and
That is true.
Momoshiki kind of had. Oh, you think it's a kind of they married into it?
I wouldn't say that like I wouldn't say that they're married into it because okay, there could be a possibility of them being married into it or something like that, but I don't necessarily like go off that. What I go off is
Momoshiki
like,
holds Momoshiki
hmm
holds itself like royalty as well, though, and that's why I was kind of getting
exactly,
at.
that's the thing.
Ishiki himself looks like a warrior. Like he was just
Exactly.
one of the he was kind of like a Brawly type. He was just born
Hmm.
this beast that they couldn't deny
I've
was powerful, and
I've theorized
he made his way up through the ranks.
I've theorized
You know what I'm
before
saying?
how.
That's why, like,
Sorry,
go ahead.
my bad. I've theorized before how I guess the Otsutsuki may be split into two different bloodlines, like a royalty bloodline,
Factions,
and then
warrior class.
a warrior class type of bloodline, right? So essentially, like structured like the Hyuga, right?
Hmm.
I've also kind of brought up how this specific gene, which would have been passed down to the Hyuga, is sort of like a parasitic gene, right? Um, to basically form some type of oligarchy, right? Or essentially one that would people that would go out um to it's structured to, I guess, whether that's a king that they're trying to gather chakra from, or essentially it being a more of um
I think the
a
Hugo was
paras.
structured to be able to keep Hamura's bloodline alive and going to have that tie back to the Moon Clan and learn about the legacy. I think that was probably like one of Hamura's last ditch efforts to save his people on the moon was creating the
Yeah.
Hugo down here on Earth.
Yeah. There also is like I like the point that you brought up. Like I like the point that you brought up of like having two branches, like the warriors and almost like the royalty. We have Momoshiki who looks more like royalty, and Kinshiki that looks more like a warrior by the way that he is built and how he fights. And we have the same thing with Ishiki and Ishiki and Kaguya. Also, the thing that I would point out is like I think like based on how everything is ranked at that dimension at Ishiki's palace, I think Ishiki himself would be stronger than all of them. So when you say that, okay, why are like these missing Otsutsuki's like not here or like invisible to us and we don't know where they are? I would think that we seen before Kaguya and Ishiki arrived, there was a chakra fruit, and people theorize that um, Kashin Otsutsuki, if we believe that he is an Otsutsuki, him and his partner were here trying to cultivate a fruit. Either they were either they were actually they branched out of the system and they were no longer they betrayed the Otsutsuki clan and they were doing their own thing. So when they sensed that Ishiki and Kage were there, they decided to leave the planet because let's say if Jashin Otsutsuki, he and his partner would have to be sacrificed to the tree for it to produce chakra fruits. Then it would mean that he would be alone to fight Ishiki and Kaguya. Jashin Otsutsuki didn't take that risk, so they planted the tree. They found out that Kaguya and Ishiki were arriving, and then they left. That's why, and we
Real quick,
this is
Dynasty.
also a
Real
bit
quick, Dynasty.
confirmed.
Why would
Yeah.
real quick, Dynasty? I got a question. I got a question.
Hmm.
Why would they implant? Why would they feed a fellow Ōtsutsuki without that Ōtsutsuki having a backup karma around? Unless it was an emergency and it was just happening during a fight and they had to do what they had to do, kind of similar to what Kenshiki did. Like, why would they
Hmm.
not have the backup plan of implanting another human with a karma so his partner
Another
could come
human with
back?
a karma. Oh, so what I would say that they they plant the tree was planted, right? The tree was planted and all of that, but they didn't like sacrifice the sacrifice how do you call it, the other partner, due to Ishiki and Kage arriving. That's the theory that people have. There is how do you call it, points like where that it couldn't make sense, as is people theorize that like the ten tails comes first, and then you feed it to how do you, to you feed an Otsutsuki to it, and then it turns into a chakra fruit, a chakra tree creating a fruit. It's not like it's a chakra tree and then you feed it, and then you feed the Otsutsuki to it, and then it becomes the chakra fruit. That's the only point that is confusing to me. So I would say that either that Otsutsuki planted a karma to somebody else, and we don't know who that person is, or they ran away.
Interesting.
Hmm.
Let me ask you
Okay.
something. What do
Hmm.
you guys
Okay.
think? What do you guys think Amado's gonna tell his full plans?
No, I think he'll tell a
I think
portion of it.
he'll attempt to and get most of it out, except kind of like I don't like talking about that because I don't like talking about certain parts of this because it goes into like my time travel theory, and I can't get away. I can't get away from that.
No, do it. Say just yeah, go for it.
Um. Okay. So I think Amado will give it all away, but the way Amado Dynasty's never heard it, so the way Amado gives out information, it just kind of seems like he gives out information like a time traveler. Like
Okay,
if you go back and watch the time travel art, he gives out information kind of like Sasuke was giving out information when he was in the time travel art. Like
explain.
you don't want to give out too much information. You want to give out just enough, only what they need to know.
Exactly. Okay.
And it always seems like he's 3, 4 steps ahead, and he knows what's going on. Like I said, I don't want them to go down the time travel route, but I feel like it's gonna go down the time travel route with him just because of how he gives out information. Like we've never really seen it where we knew that this one guy had all this information, and he only gives out bits and pieces, and we know he's always holding back more.
Well,
But it's like he always escapes the situation of having to give out more information.
so
Hmm.
I've kind of talked about this a little bit before, but the them going back in time with Hiroshiki, Boruto, and Sasuke, right? I think that that a lot of people will consider that filler, right? But I think there are certain things that the writers try to do, um, certain situations, right? Hiroshiki in play, that's an Otsutsuki, right? So I think it's pivotal for us to understand, or important for us to understand that uh, that was in play for a reason, right? And if that was in play for a reason, them going back in time alone, even if they did, they use genjutsu, or whatever, right? Um, I think it still would have affected the timeline. We know whenever you go, whether you go back in time, or or you affect time directly or indirectly, there's still going to be repercussions um coming back into your current timeline, right? Whether they came back into um a parallel timeline, which paralleled their current um their previous timeline before they went and they did the time jump. So I think it's all very possible if they write it out that way. Um,
this is why I don't like going down this route though, because there's so many ways it can go once you start
Exactly. That's
taking
why I
on
don't like
time.
time travel like that. Yeah.
Like I believe it, but I don't want it to go down that route. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's they make it logical just because of how much Amado knows. And it's like once you start like you got somebody who knows more than a person like Orochimaru, who's taking it upon himself and making his life's goal to keep jumping from body to body until he learns everything. And you're talking about a man who's able to reverse engineer um Hashirama cells and make them better than Orochimaru or whatever the leaf scientist name is. But like only way I can say that you're able to do that and use those like that is like either you're from like what is it, like the land of iron or somebody who got like the most advanced sciences or something like that, or some land we haven't heard of that has way advanced science, or you're from the future. Like it's no way me being able to describe that you're so far like light years ahead. Like that would be like somebody showing up like right now to us in time and with an actual hoverboard. We're out here with
Mm-hmm.
skateboards and they out here with a hoverboard.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Like it's
it can definitely get very complicated. Um, and that's one of the things that if they do decide to go down that route, they're gonna have to explain.
They're
Um,
gonna have to explain like super well, yeah. But like while you're talking about how do you call it, Amado being from the future, like the main theories that like I've heard is like Amado being Kawaki but from the future, and they say that
that is
because
that's
that
my theory right there. I kind of go with that one too, Dynasty. Go ahead.
hmm. But like the main argument that like people would give to that was okay. Some people say they look alike. That's not really a good argument because it could just be character design and they weren't too important. But the main argument that they give is that okay, why is Amado so infatuated and deeply cares about Kawaki? Why does he want him that bad? People say that okay, Kawaki, due to having Ishiki's karma, has the ability to wish granting ability just because of Ishiki's ability that his dojutsu has. But the argument then would be why would he not stick with Ishiki if he knows that Ishiki could grant him that wish that he may want. So that's why people say, okay, if it's not that he sticked with Ishiki, it would mean that he loves him for another. He wants Kawaki for another reason because it was his version of himself, but from the past, and he's trying to protect Kawaki. So you're saying that Amado is from the maybe how do you call it? Is from the future, or as a time traveler. I would say, would you agree with those theories, or would you lean towards a different version of what Amado is? He's just simply a scientist to you.
I would say that so I've never actually entertained this idea, but I do like it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
let's say that Amato is actually Kawaki, right? Let's say that,
Mm-hmm.
right? And if that's the case, then he would want his self to succeed, right? And
Exactly.
telling Kawaki that Amato is an older version of Kawaki probably wouldn't be good for the timeline or himself, right? This is
Yeah.
typically the case if you do, interact with yourself. You don't want, especially
You
if
don't
you,
want to tell you.
yeah, especially if you look exactly like that person and in the same exact age.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, you may get glimpses. There may be like a ripple in in that time, in that dimension or time period, and both characters would probably cease to exist if he did get word. But if he were to die permanently, in that moment, um, then Kawaki could still remain. But let's say that Amato is actually there's another topic that you brought up that was interesting as well. It was the idea that he would have a wish, right? Um, and Amado, if Amado was Kawaki and he wanted a wish, right, and Ishiki would not grant that to him, or could not grant
Mm-hmm.
that to him, it would be
Mm-hmm.
it'd be better strategically if he had told Kawaki, or was able to convince Kawaki that he should fulfill this wish because this is him now, right? So say if Amado was, you know, Kawaki and he had or was dying or died or excuse me was in the process of dying, right? This would be the moment
Mm-hmm.
where he would confess to Kawaki, hey, um, you need to fulfill this wish because of these events that happened in our lives, right? And
Yeah.
that would be the only time where Amado would basically state flat out, "Hey, I am you from the future," right?
Exactly.
And that would have
I
to be
personally think Amado, like if Amado is just a realist, I personally think he just wants to reincarnate into a perfect vessel that has that ability, so he can be able to use it himself. Which, like, why would you reinstall a perfect karma back onto Kawaki? Like, what's within that karma that allow, not only allowed you to be able to shut him down, but that will allow you to be able to gain the control that you need to be able to use him the way that you want to.
okay.
Like, what's within that karma that you planning on that
So
allowed you to be able to shut him down and be able, and that will be able to let you gain control over using those wishes that you want so badly
an
of Kawaki.
Mm-hmm.
an easier way to kind of like I basically just explain how Amato may try to convince Kawaki, but an easier way to go about doing this if Amato did want a wish, um, is to just make the wish himself, to grant himself the wish, and how he would do that is is by obtaining those powers himself, right? And
Mm-hmm.
if this plan is, if you know him being the card master, um, is basically all in efforts to get those powers himself, then basically he could be acquiring karmas. That way he could be closer to becoming whatever Otsutsuki god or whatever. I could definitely probably see that happening. Um, as far as Amado's true ambitions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Which is why
definitely
I
agree.
think he's shocked by like the way Kawaki acts about Naruto and the way that he
Mm-hmm.
that
That
Kawaki's doing all this stuff that he that's unnoticeable to him that kind of shocks. And the reason why he's been put in this situation because the 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 Joker in this case, the what he has not foreseen was Boruto and all the powers and the time changes that he has created within this. So I think like it's very possible that he wants to be able to take over Kawaki's body because all along he was Kawaki. And
interesting.
in the time jump, it could be
Mm-hmm.
the Amado that we're seeing instead of the Kawaki that we know.
Yeah. I do find it interesting, right? Because there could be like points like to disclaim what we're saying. Like how do you call it? Why would he plant something into Kawaki to like how do you call it the time bomb in Kawaki? Why is he like threatening Kawaki's life? Maybe he's using it as a ploy to get Kawaki to actually do what he wants. But there's also like a theory that like okay, I talked about this a bit with Zone in like the beginning, but I was talking about like how Amado has gained a lot of leverage with him controlling Kawaki due to having the time bomb in Kawaki, gains him access to Ida and Damien. Ida controls Damien because it's his little brother. Kawaki controls Ida because Ida's basically in love with him. And Amado, due to him having some type of control and could basically any second kill Kawaki, he has control over those three. We have to remember, at first, Amado presented like him giving Kawaki the karma as like I'm just trying to help you out. But later on, we figured out that he was putting a time bomb into Kawaki. And there's other statements where we see that Amado also gave pills to Boruto. He presented it as, okay, I'm just trying to help you out. I'm just trying to help Boruto out. But maybe he could have also done something to Boruto because if he gets leverage over Boruto, he's gaining leverage over Naruto, who definitely has been shown in the past cannot kill his own son. Amado right now holds a lot of cards. And all these cards and everything has been planned out from him being ever since he worked with Ishiki and everything that is happening right now. Now the question is if he has planned everything out due to the fact that he doesn't know that Boruto one has the Jougan, which has already been shown and almost like put on a pedestal as being the perfect or the best dojutsu out there. My theory would be that everything will go as Amado planned. Maybe he might like fake his death and go on to another clone like how do you call it, pointed out, or he doesn't and everybody still believes that he's a good person and reveals it at the end. But the one thing that will ruin Amado's plans is the Jougan, as he doesn't know that Boruto has this one eye. Not a lot of people know that Boruto has the Jougan. Everybody thinks that it's either the Byakugan or that Boruto is lying. So the Jougan will be
Right.
the eye and the power that will destroy all of Amado's plans.
Mangeki will be out.
Hmm.
What was the question? I think I didn't hear it.
Yeah, it was a little choppy.
Oh, I was just saying it's the Mangeki will be out.
Oh no.
We'll have to see with that. I
Hey.
think the Jogan is like very different. I don't think it. I don't know how the Jogan will be, but I think it would be like it's the way the thing I see it, and this is a bit like me going a bit into Dragon Ball Z. Like with the Jogan, if you analyze every time Boruto has awakened the Jogan, it's never been like with the Sharingan where Boruto has went to a lot of emotion. It has mostly been in a time of need. To like watch how do you call it, Dragon Ball Z, know that when what Gohan was training to awaken was training to awaken Super Saiyan, the one thing Goku told him is that Super Saiyan reacts to a need, not a desire. So my theory is that the Jogan has this same principle because if we analyze the first time he awakened it versus Nue, right? Needed to see the chakra system of Nue in order to find the weakness where he had to strike so that Nue could be reverted back to normal. In the fight versus Urashiki, he needed to see into the future almost where Urashiki would go through his dimensions so that he could counter it. So every time that we see Boruto awakening his Jogan, it has been in a moment of need, and that's why I think that Boruto's Jogan responds to a need, not like him responding to an emotion like the Sharingan or different eyes. That's my
I ain't gonna lie. Kind of feel some type of way about that because it was kind of needed when she were breaking it back.
Well, I I actually that's wild. Oh gosh. Someone's dying in the background. Oh no, I definitely
Was it not? Was it not needed? Am I wrong?
I don't know.
No, you're right. You're right. Definitely you're right.
I definitely I think that's interesting, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
you said it comes in response of a need, which I think I've said that too, and I think I may have gotten that from you if I'm not mistaken. And I think you may be right about that, and this is why I think there was certain criteria that needed to be met before that happened, right? Of
Yeah.
course, Boruto has been able to access the Jogan even before Karma, um,
Yeah.
at different times, but I don't think he was quote 100% Ōtsutsuki, right? I
Mm-hmm.
think that was probably one of the things that had to be met. Him him needing to be 100% Ōtsutsuki for him to be able to activate the Jogan at will. I think when he does
Yeah.
do it, it'll be more instinctive. he'll be able to do it naturally when he does unlock it in the coming chapters. I think sometime soon, especially when Code shows up. I think that'll be the time when we'll not only see Boruto's his new Karma Stage 2 form, but I think we'll also get a moment where Boruto may lose control, and he, well, not necessarily, well, yeah, essentially he'll lose control and find that he can access the Jougan. I think it'll probably come when Sasuke is on the brink of death. I think at this point Sasuke's death is pretty much inevitable. It's been foreshadowed. He even has his own manga at this point, you know. So
Exactly.
you know, it's too many hints to suggest otherwise, you know. But no, I think you may be onto something as far as it coming into response of a need. Hats off to that.
Yeah, thank you. But for me, right, when it comes to the Jougan, I really think that Tenori might get reintroduced in some type of. I don't know if this. I don't know if like he would be the one to train him during the time skip if Sasuke dies before it. I don't know exactly how it would go down, but I think Tonori has to get reintroduced. I think he was sealed and not killed for a reason. And I think that Boruto, due to him going through different dimensions, will be able to go and meet Tonori. If let's say Sasuke does end up dying, and Sasuke does end up dying, and Boruto takes his sword. Some people might say that, okay, how will Boruto ever be able to learn how to fight with a sword if Sasuke dies? But we already know that Boruto, due to him having fused the Moshiki in him, is able to tap into Kinshiki's, how they call it, abilities. Due to how do you call it? Due to how the karma works, he can tap into the Otsutsuki's abilities and battle experience. He should be able to use a sword passively, just off how the Otsutsuki, just off how the karma works. So I think if Boruto does end up losing the will to live, the person to guide him through that would be Tenori, and it would happen either the Boruto would lose his will to live before the time skip, and I think that's what they're leaning towards. And then right before it, or right in the beginning of the after the time skip, we might see Tenori taking Boruto out of that and trying to save him, and we emphasizing his prophecy of Boruto being the one to save the world.
That way we had a part at the house. You know what I'm saying?
Or you're saying something that I couldn't hear you.
Interesting. Hmm.
Because the one thing that I point out, right, is that Boruto has two prophecies. You have one prophecy that was given first. This is the prophecy of Boruto saving the world with his Jogan. Then we have the prophecy of Boruto losing everything. I think that both of these prophecies will come to pass. Boruto will save the world. However, he will lose everything first, then after complete that first destiny. So Boruto would lose the will to live. I don't know if Momoshiki would be the one to take over during this time because it is stated that Boruto will lose the will to live and Momoshiki will take over by pushing Boruto's psyche out of the way, just like what happened with Jigen. And then how do you call it? During this time, I don't know what exactly would happen. Would Momoshiki just go on a rampage? Would he try and go find Kawaki? Will he try and do this and that? I don't really know. But what I do know for sure is that Boruto's second destiny either has to come to pass. Either he will be pulled out of it by Tonori, and then after try and complete that second destiny of him saving the world, or he might just be a fallen hero who's unable to complete his destiny. But just it being a shonen anime and a shonen manga, I think that that second destiny will definitely have to come to play.
Yeah, so I've actually stated how Boruto, I would I would like Boruto Part 2 to be adapted as a seinen publication, right? I think the expansion
Yeah.
um would actually benefit the series uh
Mm-hmm.
a lot more. But just to kind of like go back to your point, right?
Mm-hmm.
I definitely think you're right. A lot of people kind of take these stoic words of Momoshiki and they kind of, they take it 50 million different ways. But I do think that
Mm-hmm.
these will definitely come to fruition, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
to do that, I think what will happen, of course, Boruto will, um, he'll he'll suffer, right? He'll be tortured by Momoshiki. I think the effects of karma taking place will have more of a physical strength, and physical mental strength on
Mm-hmm.
Boruto. We may see him seeing not yokai, right? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and him being basically uh everything that the Ōtsutsuki's go through, he'll basically start to go through a lot more of those events, right? That are basically natural to Ōtsutsuki's, but as you know, it's clear, but it's not always stated that of course the the Shinobi and the Ōtsutsuki are two different species, right? And so for them to cross
Exactly.
merge and kind of have a Shinobi become an Ōtsutsuki, I think it'll be a process for Boruto going forward, for sure.
Exactly.
Um,
Yeah.
I definitely think that as far as Boruto losing everything or his will to live, we've already seen that, right? It's been happening.
Mm-hmm.
He's been trying to kill himself, or he's been killing himself, right? So we know. I think you also made a short about um Boruto or Otsutsuki's being immortal, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken.
Exactly.
And so
Mm-hmm.
to do this, right, I think what Boruto may do is um start to learn Ninshu, right? The studies of Ninshu. And I think when he does this, he'll start to learn not only more about the Otsutsuki, but about himself and about how to in how to kind of about the same six paths, I guess, and how to the ins and outs of chakra, basically. So he's already a prodigy, right? But I don't think it's within or outside of his domain to not learn the creation of all things, techniques, things like this going forward. Um, I think it'll help him. We know that the studies of Ninshu were essentially was essentially used for users to communicate through means of chakra. But as the age of Shinobi's continued, they started to weaponize it, right? But I think learning this will be pivotal for Boruto. Um, at the end of Boruto, I think he'll use it at the end to basically negate all of chakra, um, and be rid the world of
Chakra.
of
That's
chakra
a
and
wait.
Otsutsuki's.
Mm-hmm. That's a very good theory. I just made me think about like a video I could make on that. Yeah, I do like this theory of like at the end because ever since Chakra got introduced, we have Hagoromo who wanted to Chakra to help like people like find peace in. We have Naruto's ideology that Chakra bonds people together, but then we just see wars and wars happening. So Chakra hasn't benefited anybody.
Right.
It just made people fight more. It just made people fight more. They have the stronger abilities, so they're all trying to fight, and that's why we have at the end of the day, right? We have every villain in Naruto, or most of the main villains, always trying to find a way for peace. And with what the people from the moon and everybody from Tenori, they were trying to destroy Earth because they weren't utilizing chakra well. They were not being peaceful with each other. They consistently continued to fight. So chakra hasn't benefited the world. So at the end, Boruto could realize that and exterminate all form of chakra. And we have seen something a bit like this where we have Zeke in Attack on Titan say that okay, there's that there we are Titans and we're basically not helping the world. We're just creating more fights. Let me exterminate all of this. And then we have Aaron, who completely disagrees. He's been acting like he was going with Zeke's plan. However, he has a different plan of protecting his own people, his own family. Why does he have to be the one to die while everybody continues to prosper? Why is his family the one that has to go away? Why can't they both live? So he chose to protect his own people. And here we could have a Boruto who decides that it's just best if there is no chakra, and a bit like what Kage was trying to do in the past, eliminates chakra as a whole.
Right. Right. Before before I capitalize on that, you got a few people in the comments section saying what's going on, saying what's up. I don't know if there's subs or whatever. Kashi Cage also
I know
popped up.
Kashi Cage, yeah. I know Kashi Cage. Hey. Oh, Heatwave 2.0. Okay, I know him. I appreciate him a lot.
Yeah, what's
Yeah,
going
I
on?
did like do a
We're not.
do a, like a little thing like shouting out the stream on my community, so I think some of them managed to come through.
Yeah, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the stream. We haven't forgotten about you guys. But no, I actually I actually think that when this happens, right, it'll be the end of Boruto, and this will basically conclude Boruto, right, and his character. I've talked about how Boruto will basically when he does start to study Ninshu, it'll basically give him better control over Momoshiki, right? Understanding more about Ninshu, and I think the Uzumakis. It's interesting that the Uzumakis, were killed off so suddenly. We know they were fluent in Fuinjutsu, which is Sealing Jutsu, right? And I've made this kind of argument how a lot of series they like to start from the end and work their way forward. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
basically, I see the series of Naruto and Boruto moving backwards. How they started off with Shinju and Uchihas, and now they're working their ways into the into Hyuga and Uzumaki's. That's how I kind of see it. As far as with Boruto, when he does start to master Ninshu, I think the end result will be basically him using his studies to not only be rid the world of chakra but sacrifice himself. I think it'll basically require him to he'll basically have to sacrifice himself to rid the world of chakra. And I think I think one of the ways that this may kind of work into his character is him trying to kill himself and that not being effective, right? And not only him trying to kill himself, but him being manipulated by an Ōtsutsuki. I think the character of Boroshiki will start to be more known to us. How it'll basically change parts of Boruto's character. I've talked about the Jougan, which is the evil eye, not the Jougan, but the Jougan. It's the third eye that Hiei has in the Yu Yu Hakusho. But the evil eye, we know that Kagemasa has the evil eye, which was one of Boruto's idols, right? He even fought Kagemasa before I even made some of those theories, which was interesting. But I do think that while as the series continues, that Boruto may his Jougan may become a Jougan, um,
Mm-hmm.
or be used as a Jougan, an evil eye, um, and the repercussions behind that. But yeah, I definitely like to entertain that idea.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And now that we're talking about that, what do you think are the events that would cause Boruto to lose his will? What is it? Sasuke's death? What do you think are like
I,
some stuff that will happen that would just cause Boruto to like give up on life itself?
I think it's already started. It started with Momoshiki,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it started with Kawaki explaining, um, you're basically under the control of the Ōtsutsuki. He tried to take the easy way out, which was killing himself. Didn't
Mm-hmm.
work. And so
Yes.
as the series continues, this is only the beginning. You know, we saw in like a little filler episode, him and Kawaki seeing yokai, seeing ghosts when they went to
Mm-hmm.
the the land and a boiling of water, hot water, something like that.
Yeah, boiling in hot water. Yeah.
Yes. And so I think certain things like that may happen. I think Sasuke will be another nail in that coffin when he does die, and how he handles that. I think just certain villages being destroyed, um, and certain events taking place that will add, or that'll make it seem like Boruto is the reason why all of this is happening. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, I definitely I definitely see Boruto's character kind of spiraling after these events do take place. Well, or take place.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I do agree. I do agree with what you're saying. Like thinking back at like how Jinchurikis were treated in the past with Naruto being a Jinchuriki and him being hated by the village, I see something happening like this to Boruto in two different senses. So basically, we have Boruto, right? Boruto is already been how do you call it, seen as a hero of the Momoshiki fight, and he has been portrayed as the hero in the Ishiki fight, with him doing the interviews after the Ishiki fight occurred. So then now with how things are going out, all this role of Boruto being seen as a hero will flip. It will flip. It will be the complete inverse, and Boruto will be hated by the entire village. Because let's say just one thing, right? Boruto, while Momoshiki controls him, let's say he kills Shikamaru's dad. I always use Shikamaru because I wouldn't. I love Shikamaru, but if somebody is to die, I'd rather it be Shikamaru over Sasuke. So I
Oh.
always use Shikamaru. But if but if let's say Boruto kills Shikamaru, right? And then the reaction of the village is obviously going to be sour. It's obviously going to be bad. First of all, we've already seen Boruto, how everything was flipped. Boruto was almost seen like as the Hokage's kid, and then after in the tuning exams, they were throwing cans at him for cheating. So it's that quick. It
Mm,
doesn't take much for the village to change and to turn on people, and that's like
right.
the village almost describes like the world itself. We see people get canceled left, right, and center. It doesn't take much for a person to be seen as a villain. He can go from a hero one day and to be seen as a villain. And the nature of Boruto, that quick, it changing. One, him being a young person, and him always being seen as a good person. If now everybody changes, and for something that he himself can't control, he sees that he killed his own his dad's friend. He sees how everybody else reacts. He himself will start to lose the will. Let's say if either he kills his own mother, that's extreme, but he kills his own mother and his little sister, or Code does it. But we have already seen that what truly affects Boruto is not the actions that happen to himself, is the actions that afflict the people around him, that affect the people who are around him.
Yes.
During the how do you call it, after there's a certain point in time where Boruto couldn't fall asleep. Why couldn't he fall asleep? because he was scared that at night Momoshiki would take control and kill the people around him. So we're already
Yes.
being told, yeah, we're already being told that it could be a possibility of Momoshiki just choosing out of nowhere to kill his family. It could be, now that Boruto is a full Ōtsutsuki, we've already seen that Momoshiki has come twice,
So
right after Boruto has died, and right, no, even three, we could consider it three times. Right after Boruto died to save him, uh, after Boruto was about to go on his mission, Momoshiki appeared to him, and now Momoshiki made himself so visible that Kawaki and Sasuke were able to notice him. I think they're making it very clear that Boruto's time and his time as a hero and being seen as the perfect person, the Hokage's son, is coming to an end. I think it will happen before the time skip. It all these it's not like one thing will happen and then Boruto will lose the will to live. It's the death of Sasuke, the death of Shikamaru, the betrayal of the village, and him being seen as a bad person. Maybe even Kawaki being seen as the good person, and him being flipped as the bad one. Everybody changes their opinion on Boruto and they go to Kawaki's side. Because ever since Kawaki, and this is not to hate Kawaki, but ever since Kawaki joined the village, everything has been going wrong for Boruto. And we also have Kawaki, who not like almost doesn't, at least in the manga, almost doesn't seem to like Boruto anymore. Constantly wanting to kill him, and now that Boruto is back, I think that Kawaki could attempt another kill on Boruto because Boruto is still a threat. Momoshiki can still take over, and Kawaki has seen Momoshiki almost appear while how do you call it in chapter 74, or I think yeah chapter 673. I mean, Sasuke and Kawaki both reacted. So Boruto right now, even in that house, is in the worst position ever. Everybody is on Kawaki's side in that house. Ida loves Kawaki. Damien follows Ida. So Ida is almost like it's 3v1 with Boruto being by himself because if Kawaki turns on Boruto, Ida is turning on Boruto, and Damien also is turning on Boruto. So currently, Boruto is in the worst position, and he currently doesn't know it. And it only takes a few moves for Boruto to be seen as the hero, and that quick switch of Boruto losing everything, Boruto being seen as a hero, and the betrayal of maybe his entire friends would lead to Boruto deciding that there is no point in living and letting Momoshiki do whatever he wants. That's how I think it would go down.
yeah, like I definitely gotta say I 100% agree with this, right? I'm on board 100%. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I've actually talked about how it would be a bad idea. It would be bad, not a bad idea. It would be bad if Ada and Damon showed up, but they actually did. And so I spoke about how
Mm-hmm.
if this is the case, what could happen is you may see some type of political decline um, within the village, right? At the moment, it's Ada and Damon that are the strongest in the village. Um, and so, like you said, Boruto's in a bad position. So if
Mm-hmm.
if they want to try to take some measures to be rid of them, it's too late for that. And so
Exactly.
if Ada and Damon wanted to basically take over the leaf as the new Kage, they could do that. Um
They could do that, yeah.
and I like the twist that you suggested that Boruto's
Mm-hmm.
character would be diminished because Kawaki, Ada, and Damon would look like the good guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or could make it seem like as if they were the good guys. Um,
Mm-hmm.
this would be a great way to move forward. I think, um, if they were to go this route, um, essentially, you know, this would be I've already talked about how Kawaki would essentially going into part two, how he may be some type of emperor, right? And
Mm-hmm. Exactly, yeah.
be praised by a lot of the um civilians in the world, in the Shinobi world, you know, and how Boruto would basically look like this villain, right? All these events happen because of Boruto. They could make it happen, or seem that way.
Exactly.
So I think it's very likely. Um,
Exactly. And that, yeah, with what like I think it's like Boruto and Kawaki have constantly been in a conflict of ideologies. Their ideology has never, and most of the time, never gone the same way. They do not. They clearly have been shown to not agree on most of everything when it comes to being a shinobi, when it comes to power, and when it comes to how power should be used. So with Ida's ability, I let's say the how do you call it? The entire code doesn't kill everybody, the other villages. Ida's ability has the power to basically control this entire planet just off him or her, everybody falling in love with Ida. And let's say that, how do you call it, Boruto does end up leaving the village. And something does end up happening where Naruto is no longer in the village but is sealed away by Kawaki. Sasuke is dead. There is nothing that is stopping Kawaki from fulfilling his plans as Ida is in love with. Have you watched Death Note?
oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah. So you saw how like Light Yagami was controlling Misa Amane till the very end and using her for anything. All that Ida wants is for is for her to have some type of love because nobody can truly like love her unless they're Otsutsuki's. So Kawaki could definitely use that against Ida and control her, but just like Yagami did by giving her the amount of love and affection that is necessary while controlling her and having him do anything he wants. So just like you said about Kawaki being an emperor, I could definitely see him take over, how they call it, not only the village but this entire planet, and his ideology and his beliefs being set in place, and nobody would truly know that they're, how they call it, under Kawaki's trap, under Kawaki's control, because we have Ida who is basically making them all fall in love with her. So it'd be Kawaki and Ida as the ones ruling this planet, and then we would have either Boruto to have to prove to Kawaki that his ideology is wrong, or him having to find another way to, how do you call it, come back and save this planet if he's trying to do so.
No, yeah, 100%. Um, this I think this is probably the direction the story is gonna go. Honestly, because if dynamically, it makes sense if they were to go down this route.
Mm-hmm.
Now, why I think why Kawaki would go about doing this is another question, but I think he would do this because of either lack of trust through Naruto, or maybe
Mm-hmm.
um
Mm-hmm.
maybe he would feel as if maybe something happens to Naruto, right? I do think something will happen, whether that's Kawaki
Mm-hmm.
sealing Naruto, for Naruto's safety. Um, because I at this point, Kawaki he does have love for Naruto, and so
Yeah.
I think the decision that the adolescent Kawaki may make to save Naruto's life, from Ada and Damon, will be probably to seal him. Um, Now in the Shinobi world, that means death, but I think it's um how they go about doing it, right? He could be sealed in another dimension. Um,
Mm-hmm.
there's a few ways they could do this. Um, but yeah, and I think Kawaki getting a bad image, or seeing that the Shinobi world does not appreciate him or his efforts, will
Yeah.
probably make him side with Ada and Damon. I think if they're the only people that really truly appreciated him from the beginning,
Support him.
or supported him from the
Mm-hmm.
beginning, then yeah, I think he'll most likely start to appreciate them more so than the Leaf, um,
Mm-hmm.
and the rest of the Shinobi world, including, well, not including, I guess, Naruto, who's always kind of understood Naruto, but that'll, I think, be explained through Boruto, um, post time skip, I think.
And I agree with you completely, and that's why I just say that. Like, there's nothing really that like denies the potential of this story, and that's why I love like Boruto a lot. And if it goes off a dark path, I haven't seen a lot of animes do it correctly, and Boruto has the potential to do it correctly, where we see a character like Boruto spoiled, terribly spoiled, and doesn't, how do you call it, understand the struggle of Shinobi and the struggle that his father had to go through, and he doesn't understand that. But through everything that Boruto will go through, through his hero journey and everything that he has to go through, Boruto would truly learn what it is to one be a shinobi. That's why later on he says that I am still a shinobi. Because what does it mean to be a shinobi? A shinobi means to endure. And Boruto, in the time skip, I am pretty sure that he will have to endure a lot of things. And I think personally, right, if with Code potentially even destroying the other villages, we could have a case where the village, the Leaf village, and the people who are there are only the main people. Code could have destroyed, because with the way things are being written, right, the other villages have lost a lot of the importance. They're not important as they once was. Maybe they're gonna be reintroduced, but we see them as irrelevant at this point. The main village that we're talking about is always the Leaf village. The other villages are unnecessary. So I could see an arc where Code goes and destroys these other villages to prevent what happened with Madara, with all the different villages ganging up on one or two groups and preventing them from accomplishing their plan. Code will not do the same, and he will destroy these villages one by one. And before it's too late, the Leaf village will be the only village left. And I think that could be a route that is pursued in the future. So due to everything that I'm seeing right now, I think Boruto, even though it's not the best right now, I think its peak is gonna be very interesting and could lead to a lot of people having Boruto as one of their top main characters.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like the potential is there. They just have to
Mm-hmm.
utilize it. I
Exactly.
think the art style change is
Mm-hmm.
much needed as
Mm-hmm.
well. Um,
Exactly.
the animation, I think they already know, but if I'm to reiterate that, it definitely the animation needs to change as well.
It has to change.
Um, for hmm, what do you foresee for what do you think Code's next moves are as far as like do you think he'll pop up next chapter? Um
I I think for next chapter is either two things. Two things. One, he could pop up and then start some stuff, because like usually near the end of a volume, there's like a big cliffhanger, and the next chapter is gonna be the end of a volume. So I think that there could be a cliffhanger where Code does invade the village, or I personally would not like it to happen because I think Code is gonna take a low key L, even though he would like destroy the village. Don't get me wrong, but he would low key take a L. But the other possibility is Code. Me, I personally think this will happen, and I personally want it to happen. Is Code meeting another Otsutsuki, and I think that would be the best cliffhanger. As in, oh, we see maybe Amado talk about the potential of another Otsutsuki, and then we see Code himself meeting that Otsutsuki and potentially collaborating with that one, because he needs to become an Otsutsuki, and it's heavily foreshadowed. Him invading the village would not help him reach his goal. His goal is, I have to become an Otsutsuki, then I'll come back and see if I truly love you. And I think
hmm.
he will become an Otsutsuki, then he comes back, sees that he doesn't like Ida, destroys everything, forces Kawaki to put him to a different dimension, and then we go to the time skip or something like that. I don't know, but that could be one route that is given. Or
That's
invading the village would not be bad though. It would not be bad in my opinion, but I just don't want it to happen. I prefer the other reason, the
I
other way.
I do see how you're saying that. It definitely I think it may diminish Code's character a little bit, but I think of course
Mm-hmm.
how they go about doing it is going to make all the
Yeah.
difference, right? whether I think regardless whether Code comes in there and takes the L or not, I think if he comes in, says he destroyed all the other villages, and even kills some of the fodder, I think that's gonna make an impact in
Yeah,
the eyes
that's a
of the
massive
world.
W.
Yeah, regardless, yeah, I think if he comes in there and just announces that, and even I would prefer him to speak more about his character and who he really is, goals, ambitions. Whether he takes the L or not, I don't really care. As long as he, of course, shows that he's did some damage or he's capable of doing
Yeah.
damage. I don't think it'll really diminish his character that much. A lot of people may be upset, but I think ultimately
Yeah.
he'll look like he came out on top, or he'll show that has some potential. Post time skip. Um,
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
but yeah, he if he doesn't come in next chapter and Amado just gets to explain, or I really don't see him not coming in anytime soon. I'm leaning more toward him actually coming in, but I don't think he'll come in until, if anything, the end of the chapter. It's been
Yeah.
3-4 days. It's been 4 days.
Hmm.
Since Ada and Damon, Amado and Code have all kind of been together. Um, or since we've
Hmm.
seen Code, so what he's up to, if anything, he would have to be attacking the other villages at this point. um,
I agree. But there's one thing like that is like important to note because I've seen this pattern like happen multiple times, right? So like there's been I think I pointed out in one of my shorts, but the short didn't do so well, so I'll just point it out here. There was how do you call it? Every repeating chapter, apart from chapter 11 because it was adapting the movie, there's always been a character who died. Chapter 22, right? Ayo died, right? Chapter 33, Delta was defeated by Naruto, right? And then we have in chapter 44 that she was, after being, how do you call it, after coming back,
uh,
Amado shut her down. Then in chapter 55, Kurama dies. In chapter 66, Boruto dies. Now the pattern is that in chapter 77, there will be somebody who dies just due to everything that has happened in the past. So who would you think that person is?
that dies. It would
Yeah, in chapter
it
77.
would have to be Sasuke, or
Yeah.
it would have to be Sasuke. It'd have to be someone. I mean, I don't know, maybe Amato, but I'm leaning more towards
Mm-hmm.
Sasuke since he's been built up at this point. But I did see the short
Yeah.
that you were talking about. Um,
Mm-hmm.
very good short, by the way. If you guys haven't seen it, for you viewers out there that are watching, definitely check that
Mm-hmm.
out, and of course subscribe to I Am Dynasty. If you haven't already, this man comes up with some solid theories, and predictions. But yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because they are that is a pattern, which I didn't notice
Mm-hmm.
until I probably saw that short. But yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
point.
Mm-hmm. So right now, I think like chapter 75 and onward is gonna be like very quick and straight to the point. We have Ida that are finally in the village. We're sitting down. We're gonna see Amado's plans, and I think what Amado has to say has to definitely be like groundbreaking information. Either groundbreaking information about Ida and Damien, story about the Otsutsuki's, or something special about himself and his plans. So I think chapter 65, I mean 75, is going to be a great chapter, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean they've been it's a running joke at this point that the majority of the Boruto series is like set up, but no, yeah, I definitely think something is coming in the near
Mm-hmm.
future, if not next chapter. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I dude, I think I had like one more question. Um,
Okay.
but what are your I don't know. What are your like your top five YouTubers.
My top five YouTubers. So obviously, the YouTuber who I talk, I'll put him as top one. This YouTuber has like inspired me the most. It'd be Chosen. It'd be Chosen. I'd put him as. He doesn't make as much because he's like super busy, one way university and everything, and has become somewhat of my friend due to like me talking to him on Twitter and him helping me out with YouTube and explaining stuff to me. I would like when it comes and when you say top five, it's like when it comes to like Boruto YouTubers, right?
It just YouTubers in general. Like, what are your top five? I guess, or
Okay.
anime YouTubers. I guess. Yeah. What are
Yeah,
your top five favorite?
exactly. So for me, top five favorite, I would have to put Chosen as number one. Then I'd put Anime Balls Deep.
Anime Balls Deep. Yes, aware.
Yeah, I'd put Anime Balls Deep.
Balls Deep.
And listen, so yeah, nah, they're so funny, man. They're so funny. I used to watch them back in the days, and I still continue watching them. And I'll also, it's Meek, right?
What was that?
I'll also put him in my top five.
Who was it there?
My the second
So okay, Chosen Balls Deep. Did you say?
chosen, yeah, it's Meek. It's Meek. You like? Have you heard of him?
Oh yeah, he's in the Discord. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. He has his. Oh yeah, he's also in the Discord. Okay, that's great. Yeah. So I also watched It's Meek. There's also top five. I don't want like to like leave some people out, but hold on. There's like also from people from the like the Hidden Cloud podcast. I listen. I like Mello. I think he articulates his like information well. He dives deep into it. You know Mello?
Yes. Yes. Mello's one of the goats out there. Yeah, I'm aware of Mello.
Yeah.
He's pretty cool too. I've
I'd
spoken
put
to him.
Mello. Yeah. hmm Either put and then after for my last one, I know Juju and I also know Bara B. So I'd put them in my either one of them. I'd put them in there.
Juju and
They do
Barbie.
a lot of good stuff.
I don't
But
know.
like,
Sorry to interrupt you, but a lot of people don't know that you're aware that free game is like the main host on the Cloud Ninja podcast.
oh, who's pregame?
Free game. Uh,
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
yeah, a lot of people don't know, but I just thought I should mention that he's so it's actually free game, Barbie and Mello on the Cloud Ninja podcast as the host. Um, but yeah, they have their own thing going on there. Um,
Yeah,
wh-
I think that's a good thing. Yeah. hmm
what was number three and four again? My bad.
Okay, so three and four. Okay, let me just say the whole thing over. It goes chosen, it goes anime balls deep, then it's meek, and we have a mellow and Barbie or Juju. But there's also someone else that I do like. He makes Naruto like scaling videos. You know Six.
Six. Yep.
Mhm. So
Uh,
like Six, I don't know where to put him, but I think I'll either put him fourth or fifth. Like those, I can. It's basically my top six, but those one I know for sure. The first one is definitely chosen, and then the rest you can mix them around as either top one or either top second, third. It doesn't really matter. But like top one is definitely chosen, and then we have like the rest, like six, a mellow, it's meek, anime balls deep, juju, and all those different people.
ah. How did Rain wants me to ask you how did you feel when Chosen disappeared?
Well, how did I feel when who disappeared?
Chosen.
Or when he disappeared and he how do you call it? Stopped making videos.
I'm assuming that's what he meant. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, when Chosen disappeared, I wasn't like, I wouldn't say like sad, but I was like, damn, I wanted him to continue making like videos. So I was happy when he came back. I understood why he like left because when he wanted to go to wanted to go to university, and university is a lot of time, a lot of work. So I understand why. But when he came back, I was happy. I was sad for him leaving, but I was happy that he came back. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Hmm.
So I'm not. I've seen a few Chosen's videos. I don't really watch them all too much.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
I probably Meek is definitely he's as far as I definitely like his character as far as a person. He's a pretty cool person. I've
Yeah,
spoken
yeah,
to him
definitely.
a few
Yeah, I've
times.
spoken to him too.
Uh, yeah, I definitely I like your list. You had to I like how you put an extra. Yeah, you had to go for number 6 as well. That was dope.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Mhm.
It's
So
a it's
what is your top five?
my top 5. Oof.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get some flame for this one.
Hmm.
my
Okay.
my top 5. I'm gonna have to put Sawyer 7 Mage at the top, number 1. All right.
Hmm.
Um shoot. Ah man. Ramiyaku Jotin. If you're aware of that guy, not too many people know.
No, really.
He was on the King of Lightning podcast with back in the day when they were streaming more actively together about 6-7 years ago, maybe 8 years ago.
Hmm.
But I think at a certain point, maybe about 6 years ago, they kind of split. But yeah, it's King of Lightning. He's funny. He's entertaining, but I don't know if I could put him on this list. Just because I don't know. But yeah, Story 7 Mage number 1, number 2. I'm gonna have to say, um,
Hmm.
let's see who do we have? Let me go through my subs. Go through
Right.
YouTube really quick. I don't
No,
know.
no
It,
problem,
it's
bro.
always the hardest things. The things that seem the
Hmm.
easiest is always the hardest.
Oh God.
Let me see. Back out of this. Um, let's see. Um, NC Hammer. We'll
Okay.
put him at number 2.
Okay. I know Ansi Ham. I do watch his videos. They're good. I do watch them.
Put him at number 2. Um, number 3. I might have to go for me. No. I'll put Meek at number 4. Sorry about that, Meek. Sorry about that.
Hmm.
Don't get mad at me.
Oh, I thought you said me. I thought you said like you were going for yourself. That's why I was laughing. Okay,
Oh,
Meek.
oh,
Yeah. I was
no, no,
gonna say.
no, no, no. No, I'm always gonna be at number 1.
Same.
No. All right. So we'll do number 3. We'll do Mastar Media. Number 3. Number 4. Meek. It's Meek. Shout out to Meek. Uh,
Yeah, he's the goat.
number 5. Ooh, who's gonna make it on number 5? All right, all right. Let's see. Who is gonna make it number 5? Hey, you know what? We'll do. Since Kashi Cage popped in, we'll make him number 5.
Hmm. Number
Yeah,
five. Yeah,
yeah.
I do watch some of his content.
This list will stand. So, um,
Okay.
I won't. I won't change up the. I may if I change up the list. Just point me back to this video. But hey, no, this is your number 5.
Okay. Okay, no problem, bro.
No, that's my lineup for now. Yeah,
Mhm.
that was my lineup. Dude.
Okay, that's a good lineup. It's a good lineup.
But hey, your dynasty. It's been dope having you on the Sing Zone podcast.
I'm happy.
I definitely appreciate you stopping by. It's been a little over 2 hours now, so we've been going at this pretty strong. But
Yeah,
hope,
I appreciate you inviting me.
of course, any time. Hopefully, we could do more of these in the future.
Yeah,
Uh,
most definitely, yeah.
um, yeah, it's for you you travelers out there, you viewers, make sure to go ahead and follow I Am Dynasty on all social media. Subscribe on YouTube. This guy makes dope ass quality videos, so definitely check that out.
Thank you.
Um,
Hmm.
yeah, appreciate you stopping by. Um,
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody who came. I see Swifty typing. I saw you his comments. I appreciate you coming. I see Headmaster. I appreciate everybody who came through. I see Heatwave 2.0. I do know this guy. He comments on my videos. I love his support. So everybody who came through, I do appreciate you guys coming through for the podcast. It was a great podcast with me and Zone. Maybe I most definitely I have to come here another time and maybe discuss my predictions coming true or Zone's predictions coming through. We will see this in the future. I'm happy to be here, and it was a great podcast.
yeah. Oh, that's I think that's gonna wrap it up for this one. And I will of course, you travels out there know we'll be doing more of these. This is our Boruto Talk segment, and we will see you next time, travelers.
Okay, peace.
Thank you.